Hello everyone and welcome back to the Liverpool Women's Podcast. This is episode 45 and I am joined by Chris Coughlin, who most of you would have seen before, who is an avid podcast viewer. And then if you've watched, we've just done a World Cup first round of fixtures.
World Cup roundup.
There we go, yeah, roundup.
Rolls off the tongue.
There we go, yeah. So if that video's gone out before this or whether it was going out after this, you'll know who he is and whatever. There was some exciting news that came out of the club on Monday.
Yep.
It's Wednesday today, as I've just realised in the last video, so it was Monday that it came out. Liverpool have signed Becky Jane from Reading. Fullback, 27. She played for Reading for around 8 years. Last season she wasn't really in and amongst the squad. We've just said that she only played 8 games, was it?
Yeah, just under half the games for the season. But nevertheless, I think she's got the qualities to be a good signing.
Yeah.
27, so you've got the experience, plenty of WSL experience, winning experience with Reading as well. And competition, of course. Last season, I wonder what kind of transfer policy the club are going to have this season, because last year I know what I believe about a club that makes X amount of transfers.
Yeah.
I think the more transfers you make, the more problems that you have.
And I think that's where we went wrong last year.
Yeah. I believe that as a club, if you make less transfers, then you're more solid in your position.
Yeah.
I think
Liverpool, it bodes better for players that are already there as well. They don't feel as threatened.
You don't want 6-7 new people that you've A, got to know, B, got to battle with. Yeah. Because for Liverpool, it's all about improving this season. Competition's obviously important. It's important in any team. Yeah. But you don't want... After Becky, I think it's going to be very interesting to see Liverpool's transfer policy and just in terms of how many they bring in.
Well, yeah, because Vicky Jepson said in an interview after she signed Becky Jane, and it was the first of many signings. And I think is she just saying first of many as in like she's only going to sign 3 or 4, or is she going to go all out again and sign 6-7 players? Because on one hand, I think I'd love a lot more squad depth, because last season the amount of injuries that we had, the amount of kids that we had to have on the bench, which I'm all for, giving youngsters their first games and stuff like that. But when it was every week for about 6 weeks, it was getting a bit, is this what it's going to be like next season? But then, like you've just said, you don't want to cause the upset, and that you don't want to create an atmosphere in a dressing room that doesn't necessarily need to be there.
Because then the more people you've got, of course, having squad depth is massively important, but then you've got people that sit in the stands, and they're thinking, what have they done wrong? Why? Because I think it's generally taken that most new signings will be in the manager's plan in terms of playing games.
Yeah.
So the more that you bring in, you've got more people maybe from last season that were thinking, okay, so what's my role going to be here?
It's interesting you've just said that though. Like a manager bringing a signing is going to play. I don't see a fault in either Robe or Pearfield.
I don't, which makes this
like
interesting. Whether it's little kick just to say keep up your performances, but as you say, I'm looking at them because Robe's I think set in stone. Pearfield again, I don't think she's done anything wrong. No. So where does Becky Jane fit in?
I did see a little bit of not a drop off in Robe's performances, because I still think she did amazingly for us, but you could see just that little bit of a difference in it. Obviously moving from the left to the right, because obviously Satara and Murray leaving in January. Open the door for Pearfield to come in, go into left back, which is her position, and then Robe to move to right back, and you'll think that'll be a lot better for her. She's right-footed, blah, 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 all these types of things. But I think she's finally got herself to a place at left back where she felt comfortable. Mm-hmm. That switching her sort of messed with her head a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I don't want to drop her from right back in any game. So it's like...
You see, personally, I'm just... with Robe, I just think left back or nowhere, if I'm perfectly honest with you.
I'd like to see Pearfield play a little bit further forward then. Would you play Pearfield on the left in front of Robe one game?
I think that's... If it's a way to fit Jane in without causing any sort of disruption,
Yeah.
then I think that's certainly...
But then you're causing a disruption of in order to fit Pearfield in. You either have to take Charles or Babajide or Daniels or whoever else if we sign someone new.
You'd be a manager.
Yeah, it's like... Because you're not taking Niamh Charles out your team.
No.
100% not.
Not taking Sweetman Kirk out.
You're not taking Sweetman Kirk out. If Babajide on a good day, you don't take her out.
No. Considering her stocks, I think her stock is only going to rise.
Exactly. Daniels is very touch and go this season. She had a good spell towards the end.
One thing I absolutely hate the phrase on their day.
Really?
That is one of my ultimate.
I say it all the time.
Pet peeves in football. On their day. Well, why isn't every day your day if you're a professional footballer? Why can't you go out onto that pitch? You could be playing against a better team, fair enough, but when you get the ball at your feet, why is it all about on your day? Why can't
how
you perform?
How you feeling, who you're playing against? It's like you play the same game every day.
It's like, I might score today, I might not. Well, no. On your day, if you train every day, you practice every day, I don't believe that on your day should be
a thing.
A thing, because you look at some luxury players and they say, "Oh, she's a good player," and then I'll go through the stats and be like, "Okay, 1 goal in the last 7 games, she's a good player." You know, that's just my view. I appreciate that. I am maybe an elitist when it comes to that, but the phrase "on your day,"
it's a solid point.
Doesn't go well with me.
It is a solid point.
So maybe this, maybe if you look at Becky Jane, you say to Robe and Pearfield, if you have a few on your day games, or you don't have on your day games, then we have someone capable of
replacing you.
And replacing you.
Yeah, and I'm excited to watch her play because to be honest, I didn't pay much attention to Reading last year. Obviously, only playing 8 games. Most of them would have been coming as subs, I assume, as well. I put it in YouTube this morning to see if I could get a compilation of clips of it. There was absolutely nothing of it at all. There was some other YouTuber who had 1.4 million subscribers called Becky Jane, and I was like, Sam, but you're not the Becky Jane I was hoping to look at. So it's like I don't know what she offers to the team, which is sort of hard for me to sit here and say she's going to come in and go straight into a side because I don't know what she can give us.
Well, no, I think in terms of Reading, the only game when Reading came to Everton, when I covered Everton earlier this season, she was an unused substitute.
Yeah.
Reading lost 3-2, so I don't know what that says about their defence maybe without her. But I think if there's a new player and you're signed for Liverpool Football Club, you've got to have enough about you for the manager to at least sit up and take notice of you. And for her to be this excited at joining as well. Well, yeah, exactly. That can only be a good thing.
That's the next point. She seems so keen. If you watch it interview, she's so keen on the move. And she highlighted the fact that she was excited to work under Jepson. Mm-hmm. And I think that shows the quality of Jepson as our manager as well, because you're not going to sign for a team unless obviously you're excited to sign for the club itself. But you might absolutely adore Liverpool Football Club, but if we've got a rubbish manager, you're not going to want to play for us. Yeah. But we've got both. We've got the excitement of playing for Liverpool and playing under Becky Jepson.
I think Vicky's a top draw manager, to be honest with you.
She sent me a happy birthday message the other day and I was absolutely oh.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. She was just chilling on a boat. On her holidays, she was chilling on a boat. And she was like, happy birthday. And I was like, oh my God, Becky Jepson saying happy birthday to me.
Drink on me. That's love. That's
I was like, oh my God.
That's fantastic. Well, that just shows the kind of person that she is, Vicky. And when I spoke to her this season, she's got that perfect kind of balance of, she knows to be fair with the players. Yeah. She knows, because there were a few games where she went into players. She said, I've just asked questions in the dressing room, what happened there? But at the same time, you can tell that she's a joy to be around. You can tell that she's not somebody who is going to constantly slander you or anything like that. Yeah. So going forward, I think that she is a manager that can certainly attract players, and that can only help with the progression of the side. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's because she's been around the club for so long. Like Niamh Charles and Bo Keynes and Blanchard, they've literally grown up with Becky Jepson in their life. Yeah. And that bodes well for them. And it's the same, the group of players who came last season,
and I've played under Jepson for a season now. Well, not even a season really. Like,
because I'd rather have
months.
I'd rather have someone as well that understands the whole ethos of the
Yeah.
club, understands what the club's about. Because if you get a manager coming in, with all due respect, they're pretty miserable.
Yeah.
Then that's just not good. That Liverpool play fast, free-flowing football that's throughout all eras, throughout all generations, both men and women, and you can see that's what Vicky's trying to implement.
Yeah.
And I think she is the right woman to be in charge. I think she's the right person. So I think with a couple more signings, as I say, I just hope not too many, just to not disrupt the flow of the squad. But I think Liverpool can look forward to a good season.
I think I've said this, and we've spoken about it before. I think if you sign one of every position, so you sign one goalkeeper, you sign one defender, you sign one midfield, and you sign one a forward player. You know, whether that's a winger, whether that's a striker. Yeah. I think that's enough.
Because I would accuse forward players nowadays of, unless you're a 6'4" lump that you just hope the ball towards, I believe you should be able to play more than one position as a forward. Yeah.
I think so too, and you've seen that with Shooting Kirk this season. Yeah. Same with Babajid, them two have rotated that from the left and playing up front between them. Same with Daniels, you can play it on the right and you can play it up front.
I just think the game is that advanced now. You can't afford to be just one kind of player.
You can't sign a 6'7" Peter Crouch forward who's only got one thing, and that's if it's in the dying seconds of a game and you need a goal, you'll lump the ball up to them.
Super sub. But if you are a starter, I just think you have to be prepared to put a shift in several different areas. Yeah,
and also obviously losing Laura Coombs as well.
Yeah, that was a very heavy loss. I think City have got a fantastic player.
I was so gutted.
I was surprised when I saw it, to be honest with you.
I was sitting in Munich airport, and it was like 9:30 in the morning, and I was like, Amy, Laura Coombs is signed for Man City, and she was like,
was that before or after? Was that before or after Madrid?
After.
Okay, so
we'd already been on one plane. We'd been up since 3:30. We'd already been on one plane. Our flight we still had another half an hour to wait for out of the flight. There was shocker. There was people everywhere. We were starving. Yeah. And it was just like, Laura Coombs was signed for Man City, and Amy was just like, just don't. Like, she just went, I can't even talk to you about it. And I was like, yeah, fair enough.
Before we talk about England, like where does she fit into that City team, do you think?
See, that's where I think
or is it
I've
a case
got
of
no
squad depth?
idea. I think it's a case of squad depth, and I think it's a case of having more English players in their team.
That's something I've heard before, strangely enough, English quotas and everything like that.
Because all the players that they've signed so far are English. Well, they've only signed 2. But
is there a quota, say, for the Champions League, is there a quota?
I don't think so. And there's definitely a quota for leagues, isn't there? Yeah. There definitely is.
Yeah.
So I don't think for Champions League, I don't think there is.
She could live to regret it. You know, I wish her all the best. You know, I think she's a fantastic player, and she could have a very good career ahead of her. Yeah. But I think sometimes you've just got to take a step back and think, where are you going to play? Because you are only going to get better as a player if you play.
Yeah, but I think she's looked at it as, I think she's 29. She's 28, 29. I think she's looked at it as this season, next season might be our last opportunity to win silverware. Yeah. Because as I absolutely love our club, but we're not going to win trophies next season, I don't think.
If you look forward, because I think in the position that she plays, I think she could still have a fantastic career for another
4 or 5
seasons. Yeah. So she could still be. At 29, at 28, 29, do I see her walking into the City midfield is the question.
No.
I don't. That's the brutal reality.
She walks into ours. She's first name in the team sheet for me in midfield anyway. She's the first midfielder you put down. Yeah. And Amy talked about it the other week, and it was like, you can be angry with her, but you can't be angry with her as well, because
it's one of them. I'm not gonna sit here and criticise her, because it's a fantastic opportunity with a club that, with all due respect, at this moment in time, are more likely to win trophies.
And also, she could have left last season when a lot of other players did. Yeah. And she didn't.
I think when you say that, you have to look and say she's probably earned it. Yeah. And as I say, good luck to her.
I wonder whether she's already left and City have approached her, or if they approached her while she's still been at Liverpool. Because it was like a week after. Yeah. Or like more than a week after, when it was announced that she was leaving us, that she signed. And I'm thinking, well, if she would have left us the announcement was the Friday.
Yeah.
If it was the Monday after, you'd be like, oh yeah, that was already agreement. But it was like a week and a half after.
Because I kind of read it as, I definitely saw it before other pre-contract signings.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I'm not saying here and accusing City of anything, but I think when they know a player is, I don't know whether it's different to talking to a player who is down to a contract. Maybe there are regulations where they can kind of just swoop in.
It might have been agreed in January.
Yeah.
Someone might have said to you, you've got 6 months left in your contract, you can either stay on and sign on for another year or 2 years at Liverpool, or you can come and play for us at City for 2 seasons and potentially win the league, the FA Cup, the Continental Cup, the Champions League.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a no-brainer.
Yeah, exactly.
But as we say, good luck to her.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Moving on then, England played their opening fixture of the Women's World Cup on Friday. Like I said before, we did a roundup. So I purposely kept England for this podcast just because it allows us a little bit more freedom to chat about it. England won 2-1. Wasn't really the game that you expected. I thought we'd be a lot more dominant.
I thought it was good enough, and good enough in a World Cup group stage is enough.
Yeah.
The first half was considerably better than the second half. I thought in the first half there were times where I thought we could rack up 3 or 4. When I saw Beth Mead starting, to be honest with you, I kind of sat there and I thought you might have got in even without Duggan's injury anyway.
Oh, I thought that, but then the discussion was, Beth Mead's only allowed to play because Tony Duggan's injured, and I thought
that's
I don't see
unfair
that
on Beth Mead. Really.
I don't see that at all.
The season that she's had, I think the goals that she scored, the kind of goals she scored, I think she more than warranted the place. I think she should have done better with her opportunity when she was putting down the left. I think she should have done that. I think she could have put it at least somewhere near the corner. It was straight at the keeper, in all honesty. But in the first half, for me, and you might disagree with this, but I was very disappointed in Kira Walsh. I was very disappointed in the season that she's had. I thought that I definitely expected more from her overall.
Yeah.
Because in the same way that I said when Australia in the roundup, which I very much advise you to go and listen to.
Yeah.
When I said that Australia kind of collapsed after they conceded their second, I feel in the same way Kira Walsh's performance kind of fell apart after she gave away the chance to Cuthbert, really.
Right, okay.
After that, I thought she was solid enough for the first 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But after that mistake, I just thought they kind of swamped her.
I think that half-time break was welcomed.
Oh, yeah.
For both teams.
Yeah.
England went into that break 2-0 up, but it was still a very much welcome break for England because, I mean, don't get me wrong, like you said, we could have gone in 4-0 at half-time, but Scotland could have easily have picked 2 goals out of us as well.
Yeah.
So, not many people have spoke about that. I mean, not that I've seen
just
anyway.
Kind of brushing it under
They've sort of brushed it under the carpet, yeah. But
because when you look at 2017, 6-0 the Euros to Saturday
2-1. Scotland managed
Saturday 2-1. Then you've just got to give them so much credit for that. To close that gap in 2 years is absolutely fantastic effort by Shelley Kerr.
Yeah.
And the players, and it is a very much improving group.
Yeah.
The likes of Emsley, Cuthbert, Little we know all about, Murray as well. It is a group that can cause teams problems, and they'll look at the Argentina-Japan game and think that they still have a very decent chance of going through.
Yeah.
In that second half, I thought they swamped England, to be honest with you. I thought at times, I was watching it thinking, the girls can't get out here. Because overall, I gave man of the match to Nikita.
I did, yeah.
Oh, sorry, man of the match, player of the
Player
match,
of
sorry.
the match, yeah.
She was much more effective in the first half, for obvious reasons.
Her and Lucy Bronze down at right hand side was amazing.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
It was fantastic in the first half. I thought, this is really going to work, especially that little part where they played it out of the corner and Nikita nutmegs the defender, and then she's away. And that's just the quality that she has.
Yeah.
But Scotland did really well to kind of clog that in the second half.
Yeah.
And they deservedly got a goal. I thoroughly believe that they deserve to get a goal. Yeah. I said 3-1.
I did say 3-1 as well.
So that we clearly knew that Scotland were going to pose a threat.
Yeah. I say that for every prediction though. I always say the other team will score just so I've got like
just
a little bit
of
like, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I was, I said at the start, good enough, and in the World Cup, good enough is enough.
It's enough for an opening game.
Yeah.
You got your 3 points. You've got to win over Scotland, who's a massive rival for you, and you've got to play Argentina on Friday night. Who, before watching their game, you'd have said we will win. We will win.
I'd expect to have enough to break them down.
Yeah, me too.
Really.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because they did invite Japan on. I think Japan were guilty of some very bad misses, very poor misses. But Argentina did invite them on, and I think if you invite the likes of Nikita on, then you're only asking for trouble, really.
Yeah.
I said on Twitter before the game, Ellen White over Taylor was interesting for me. Tend to be managerial genius.
That was highlighted in commentary as well. Like obviously,
I think she did well, but I think at the same time you saw what was lacking in what Taylor gives.
Yeah.
That kind of running, that kind of the ability to play a long ball and to have someone chase it. Ellen White, she tried her best, but she's not the same as Taylor in terms of chasing the ball down. And fair play to Ellen White, fantastic finish.
She should have scored one earlier than that. There was a great save from Alexander. She pulled off some good saves.
She was keeping them in the first half. And
she played really well. She'd be my player of the match for Scotland if I could pick one.
I can't label any criticism at England in that first half. The second half was so similar to the Canada second half in the warm up game, just in terms of not that much going forward. Maybe kind of a feeling that the job was done. Certainly against Scotland. I
think they definitely might have had that mindset of we've got a 2-0 cushion. Mm-hmm. Maybe just sit back and just enjoy being 2-0 up in your first game rather than wanting to go 3-4. But
it's a dangerous game to play.
I'd rather go out and go, like, we need to get a third.
But look at the USA, they didn't sit back and relax, did they? So
as soon as they had the world record in their sights, they wanted that world record.
You could just they were just absolutely gunning for it. Yeah. A word on the penalty. Now, obviously, it went to VAR, and there was a whole debate about it. My view is pretty straightforward. Penalty.
Okay. Yeah.
I know these new rules coming in, and everyone's saying, is that making handball more, gainable? Do you know what I mean? It's easier to get a penalty for handball. But end of the day, if that's where your hand is,
yeah, exactly. If you watch it. And you think, I don't know whether she's going to turn her body so she goes like that and tries to block it or what, but her hand is pretty much like that.
That's unnatural.
And it hits her there. And now, Frank Kirby did say handball. I didn't, in gameplay, I didn't. Yeah.
I have to say,
I didn't see
until
it.
They went to VAR, I didn't actually realise.
Yeah, because the ball was like, they carried on playing and the ball went like our end of the pitch. And Steph Houghton's like chasing after, trying to keep it in. And the referee blows a whistle, and I was like, "Oh, offside! Just give offside for like Beth Mead on the other side or whatever." And they were like, "Oh no, VAR for penalty check," and I was like, "When? Where? For who?"
It just looked like a normal cross that just followed into the area.
It looked like she just put too much on it, and it had just gone round rather than going like over, like she probably intended it to.
Whilst I do believe that these new rules can make handball a bit farcical, I've got. If I was Scottish, I don't think I could have any complaints about that.
No, because if that, I was going to say, if that was a penalty for Scotland, I'd say it's a pen. Yeah. I'd say it was a pen. So.
As I say, to have it from, say, look at your elbow as a base point. If your forearm is above your elbow, or above the angle of your elbow, then there is no complaints.
If her arm was like this, say she was like this or something, and it hit her there, you'd be like, oh man!
Because as well, it's not as if there was no distance between them. There's a good there's a good.
She's like that.
7-8 yards.
But it wasn't intentional.
That's where the new rules are going to come in, isn't it? Like for it to be, I think they're taking the intentional part out of it because unless you're Luis Suarez in a World Cup quarter final against Ghana in the last minute,
unless you're physically gone like that,
unless you become a volleyball player, I don't think you're ever going to intentionally, or very rarely, going to intentionally handball the ball.
Yeah.
I think the unnatural position is much more, is a much better ruling. Although I do think the referees, I said this on Twitter again, I do think the referees should at least talk to ex-players to understand what a natural body position is.
Yeah.
Because only when you talk to people who have played the game know about movement, then you will fully understand what unnatural is.
Yeah.
Like, because when I used to play rugby, I got tap tackled playing rugby,
Yeah.
and you could say, "Oh, stay on your feet." When you get tap tackled and one of your ankles touches the other, you're falling down. It's physically impossible to stay up, and it's similar with players. You say, "Oh, get up," you've just been clipped. When you get clipped at pace, you are.
It's momentum.
You're
Yeah,
flying.
it's momentum,
You're
and
down.
you think, oh, that's a dive. They've literally scraped them, but it's like, oh no, like if you're running full speed,
You run at pace and have someone clap your ankles together,
yeah.
then you will see how difficult it is to stay on your
Yeah.
feet.
Like think about like if you ever ran down the stairs and you've missed a step.
Regrettably, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And you've missed a step and you've either gone flying or you've saved yourself.
Yeah.
It's on par
I've
with
done both.
It's exactly. It's on par with running at full speed across a pitch.
Yeah.
And an obstacle coming in your way.
Yeah.
You're either gonna have them. You're either gonna see it and know how to react, or your body doesn't know how to react because you haven't got enough time to do it. So if someone comes in, literally clips you like that, you are gonna go down.
Yeah.
But then there's times where you think you've gone down far too easy. Like USA should have had 2 penalties last night.
Yeah.
One of them, I think though, the one where she pulls her back, I think she went down too easy. But then also you've got to think, you don't know, do you? You honestly don't know.
When you say pulling back, I think
She didn't her arm didn't physically go like that. She's literally just pulled her like that.
in situations like that, I think that's why players get a bad rep sometimes as well, because I think sometimes some players think, if I'm not going to make it obvious enough, then I'm not going to get the penalty. So because that's where VAR is going to come in, like shirt pulling, all that kind of stuff. I presume it's going to come in. And sometimes you, as a player, even if you feel that, you do probably just need to kind of arch your back or whatever. I'm not advocating cheating, but I'm saying that maybe enough penalties aren't given because people don't believe, or because referees don't believe that there's been enough in it.
Yeah.
So I think, going back to the handball, intentional is wrong. I think unnatural is a much better ruling.
Unnatural is a better way to put it as well.
Yeah. But there needs to be education on what is unnatural.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, 100%.
Not complaining, England won. Move on.
No, yeah, exactly. I just want to get your thoughts then. Obviously, England, Argentina Friday.
Yeah.
What would be your starting 11? How much would you change or how much would you keep the same?
Goalkeeper, same.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much debate in that. Back four, I would keep the same, apart from just we see on the fitness of Millie Bright.
Exactly. But so then, if Millie Bright's not fit, McManus or Williamson?
You see, I like McManus.
Yeah.
I do like McManus. But there's been so much hype about Williamson coming into this tournament as well.
I'm only going to say McManus starts just because she's the one who came on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's probably more in Phil Neville's plans for her to be ahead of Williamson in terms of coming on. I think it's a blow just because Houghton and Bright are so used to each other's style of play. Of course.
But then that was that's the first time they played together since November, because obviously Millie Bright didn't go to She Believes, did she, because she was injured.
But then when you look at, obviously McManus has gone to Manchester United, but Houghton obviously knows McManus as well, obviously from Manchester City, so it could be a pretty seamless switch.
I think if we win on Friday, he rotates pretty much a whole 11 for Japan.
That could depend on the Japan result if it risks winning the group.
That's very true.
Because
when I say whole 11, I don't think he's going to be like swapping every position. Obviously, some players will stay the same, but I think he does start Telford in goal.
Yeah.
He does start Williamson. He probably starts. Don't know who else is in the squad. Probably starts Jade Moore or Cannon Carney in midfield first, rather than Jill Scott or Kira Walsh. One of them comes out. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that was going to be my next point actually, because I know she might not have had the best season. I do love Jade Moore. Maybe it's kind of a hangover from 2015 where I thought she was fantastic. But I think Phil Neville needs to make a decision between Walsh and Moore. Really, just because I was underwhelmed by Walsh more than anything. Maybe I'm giving her a bit too much criticism, but I was underwhelmed. The front three, the big decision is probably Taylor or White again. As I say, I was surprised
I don't see you dropping Beth Mead.
No.
Like, I don't.
No, and again,
as much as I love Tony Duggan, I don't see
Yeah.
I don't see her coming in for Beth Mead.
Duggan could be touch and go again. I think Mead did enough overall. Of course, Nikita's immovable.
That's just given that she's so sad.
Two changes. I think if it had been 3-0, I don't think he could have changed anything.
No.
Because of the nature of the second half, I think there will be changes.
Yeah.
Obviously, sorry, there would have been one, obviously, if Brighton are fit. But in terms of just based on performance, I think there'll maybe be 2 changes.
Yeah, I think the 2 changes will come in defence if there's any, and I think that'll be whoever Bright's fit, and I think maybe left back you might put Stokes in, depending on her fitness as well.
I don't know. Would she have started if it hadn't been for?
I think she probably would have. But not for any fault of Greenwood's. I think it would have just been...
No, I thought she did okay. Set pieces could have been a bit...
I was surprised that she was on set pieces. You got Frank Kirby on the pitch and Alex Greenwood's taking your corner. And it's like... Maybe it's just because they're going for like the outswinger.
Yeah.
Or they've gone for an in-swinger on certain ones.
I've been watching football pretty much for as long as I can remember. And I still don't know whether I prefer in-swinging or out-swinging corners.
Oh, I prefer in-swinging corners. I think it puts the keeper under pressure more.
Okay. Yeah, true. Because then, well, if it's out swinging, the keeper's got to make a decision.
I think it's out. If it's out swinging, and the keeper can make it, it's their ball.
Yeah.
And it's much harder for it to get power on a header from an out swinging corner, especially if it's like a floaty one.
Yeah.
Whereas an in swinger, where you can put as much pace or as little pace on it as you want, and the goalkeeper's still threatened.
Yeah.
Depending on your position and your attackers and whatever, you know what I mean?
But no, I think there's plenty for Phil Neville to ponder. But plenty of positives as well.
I think he'll know who he's starting now today, though.
I think, I think he should. I don't think he should go into the day of a World Cup game still wondering who you're going to play.
He told them on Friday who was starting, so they knew for 2 days to get their heads around it. So I think he's going to do that for pretty much most games.
Yeah.
So I think he'll know today.
I remember Capello in 2010. It got revealed that he told Rob Green he was starting, I think, the day of the game.
Yeah.
That's just... terrible.
I don't like that.
If I was a player and I'm playing in a World Cup, I want to get into my mindset that I am playing in a World Cup game because of the emotion that's going to come with it. Yeah. So I think you've got, unless barring injury, you've got to tell players at least a day before.
Unless it's a last minute thing, if someone's getting injured in a warm up, and you're literally told 15 minutes before kick-off that you're playing, I think you need to know at least the night before, if not like that morning when you go into training or wherever you are. And they say, right, this is the starting 11 for tomorrow's match.
Yeah.
I think that's...
Just for preparation and more than anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it. Well, actually, no, one more point.
Go on.
First. A total of 6.1 million people watched England vs Scotland on Sunday, which was mad.
Absolutely sensational.
Like, record-breaking mad.
Well, most for a women's game in the country, isn't it? For considering... I was trying to think, did it... because England's game against Switzerland finished, and then obviously it was perfect timing.
It was perfect timing. It was literally straight on after it. So like,
so for 6.1 million, was fantastic. Shows that it is growing.
Yeah.
I would like to think that WSL attendances will mirror this kind of
there's been a lot of
record.
Yeah, there's been a lot of chat about the attendances so far at this World Cup. You've got to realise France is a big country. It is a big country. Like, I was speaking to Sarah yesterday, and they tried to get to the New Zealand game from wherever England played theirs.
Nice.
So they tried to get to wherever New Zealand played. Netherlands. Whenever they were playing. And she was like, it was a 9-hour train.
Seriously?
Train. From Nice.
Okay.
And it was she was like, it was 9 hours there, 9 hours back. She was like, it was 250 each way. Wow. And she was like, we tried to look at flights as well, but they were too expensive.
250?
So 250 there, 250 back.
Sorry, 250 euros?
Yeah.
On the train?
Yeah.
From Nice?
Nice to wherever.
Oh my...
It was a 9-hour trip. So she was like, I didn't go. And I was like, yeah, don't blame me.
I'm not.
So like, France is a big country.
Bigger than
a big country.
It makes me going on a coach through the middle of France last weekend bad. or week. When was Madrid?
I don't know where
track.
I am. I thought it was Tuesday.
I'll say this
It's
now.
fine.
Coming back from Madrid, I got 2 hours sleep out of 31. That's why I don't know what day it is. But yeah, I think fantastic just to see that the world is tuning in.
Yeah.
Certainly UK's tuning in as well. I think the coverage has been fantastic so far.
2.4 million people watched England, Switzerland, for then 6.1 million to watch. So people will go, oh, some of them viewers would have been people who have just watched the England men's game and have just left it on for like 20 minutes. And it's like, no, another 4 million people. Say you take that 2.4 million.
Anyone that watches the England game, you've got to physically change channel.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's not just a case of leaving it on.
People do like women's football, guys.
And there's plenty to show it.
Exactly.
There's plenty to show it.
Exactly. Well, I think that was a great end to the podcast.
On the...
How long was that done?
That's 35 minutes.
That'll do. That's more than good enough.
Come on, girls.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure to like the video, comment and subscribe. Follow all our socials. I'll put ours and Chris's in the link below if I remember.
Put our links in the bit below.
Yeah, in the little box thing. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I will see you all next week with another
Lionesses.
podcast.